First of all, I would like to apologize that I don't have a PowerPoint to share. I haven't prepared one. So I'll be reading through the document I have submitted to the coordinator. But if possible, I just want to share the text as it is in my Microsoft Word. Hopefully you can follow it. Is it readable for you? All right. So let me give my gratitude to the organizing leaders who accepted my offer and participation. This is my very first participation after a couple of years. So the topic I have chosen, I purpose to present leadership in Psalm 3 is just a brief insight for every believer or every Christian leaders. So let me go through from this text only. The conflicts are parts and parcel of life. Who overcomes will have the crown of life, a new name. Without this victory, we may fail to enjoy abundant life that is promised here and now. So everybody breathing today is privileged to see and know the abundant, bountiful essence of peaceful life. Because the Almighty God that rules over everything, animate and inanimate, is ever vigilant to check and balance each movement and maneuver of human existence. As a son and youthful shepherd of his father, David experienced some remarkable life-threatening conflicts. While growing and learning as a young man, he was not only chosen, but also anointed to be a future monarch of a recent political reform and establishment of the Promised Land, from theocracy to monarchy. The would-be prominent psalmist was endowed and gifted with special skill in musical instrument to inspire and empower others for positive mental well-being. Although he was not a commissioned officer or conscripted soldier in the army of King Saul, David had a sense of duty to safeguard his nation and the honor of Yahweh. The challenging call of Goliath was considered by David as open blasphemy and offensive derogation toward Yahweh and devout worshippers of God. While all the leading defenders of Israel were dismayed and terrified, the king, prophet, leader of divine chosen generation appeared to take a manly venture with the spirit of power, of love, and a sound mind. So, as the very first quality of leadership, charity, to a prolonged manifestation of divine loving kindness. The foundation of the oppositions and the enemies' attack is based and targeted in David's fundamental source of existence and power. Though he was not a prince or a noble by birth, who was entitled to be a monarch, he was chosen and anointed by divine mandate. The current position David held as the ruler of Israel was obtained by theocratic appointment. However, the circumstance of law and order was being subverted due to the clever conspiracy of Prince Absalom and traitors who wished to depose him as king. The opening stanza of Psalm 3 indicates the perplexity. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Overwhelming opponents throw abundant difficulties toward a leader in crisis. The challenges are intimidating, and the crisis is intensified by ridicule, contempt, and belittling remark. Many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. Psalm 3 verse 2. The situations were bad and confusing enough to batter and break the morale of this godly leader. However, his faith in God preserved his positive attitude of resilient fortitude. David's affirmation and certainty of omnipotent help is the manifestation of divine love, despite a widespread claims and appalling malice. His experiential knowledge and pragmatic relationship with Yahweh is exceptional. He demonstrated that love is meek, kind, and covers multitude of sins. His poised words and gestures are indicative of the fond connection he had with Yahweh. This attitude not only reveals extraordinary courage in the turmoil of life, but it also displays the fact that perfect love drives out fear. In 1 John 4:18. In the most trying hour of his reign, the unfeigned color of his leadership prowess luster as a man according to Yahweh's heart. This prophet, king, moral leader revealed his spiritual aptitude of loving kindness, even during his fugitive life and experiences. Once in his desperate moment of emotional disturbance, he made up his mind to take vengeance by his own hand. However, when he was encountered by a diplomatic envoy of his offender, he could swallow the anger and meekly alter his plan. After the slanderer who reproached him was removed, he made a remark of acknowledging divine charity that constrains him to shun and escape violent compensation as he intended to do. After his sin against Yahweh through adultery and homicide, there is an explicit oracle concerning David. The sword shall never depart from thine house, because thou hast despised me, and hast taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife. The oracle came to pass as foretold by the prophet. Absalom, who murdered his half-brother Amnon, his older brother, son of David, conspired a rebellion to take David's throne and life. In the process of the insurrection, a severe reproach against the monarch was made by Shimei, an elder from the clan of Saul. Both offensive words and reviled gestures were performed in the presence of David and his party. He did not take that evil experience as a furious grudge against Shimei, and he reprimanded the attending security official who wanted to behead Shimei. The second point here for a leader is spirit of power, a source of faith and confidence. The invading presence of the enemies, the pressing and hovering of the shadow of death bothered David a number of times in his life. In all these circumstances, he looked to the Lord and his strength. Seek his face always. This eminence of David's choice became his lyrics of praise. And you, O Lord, are a shield for me, my glory and the one who lifts up my head. Psalm 3:3. In the moment of uncertainty, Yahweh remains the absolute power and absolute authority for the psalmist. Thus, his assurance of security and safety is affirmed. So, I shouted to the Lord with my voice, and he heard me from his holy mountain. Psalm 3, verse 4. Therefore, the locus of leadership can be considered as the abode of divine favor and a manifestation of divine presence. Besides, proper leadership attitude is not compatible with a deferred acclamation of divine salvation. The news of uprising, the usurping rebel forces made a serious alarm for the administration of David. And the seed of the coup that would overthrow David's reign is just 20 miles from the city of David, Jerusalem. He ordered an emergency evacuation to avoid bloodshed in Jerusalem and to counteract usurping power. Power without wisdom may result disaster. So he chose to take a flight in order to display the character of unselfishness and humility. Also, the caretakers of the Ark of Covenant and officiating priest got ready to join him in the urgent evacuation. Nevertheless, David requested his royal supporters to stay back in Jerusalem because he was mindful of the sacred religious symbol, a token of Yahweh's presence that should remain unchanged or unmoved for all the inhabitants of Jerusalem while he was making a strategic relocation. The real spirit of power was not dependent upon material symbol or any other items, but Yahweh. Sound judgment, the third quality for leaders. The exercise of conscience to stay calm in a time of extremely stressful tension and pressure is something supernatural. In the context of being pursued by hostile enemies, psalmist asserts and acts in tranquility. I lay down and slept. I awoke, for the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people who have set themselves against me all around. Psalm 3, verses 5 and 6. As law and order was broken in his personal life and his kingdom, all the turmoil were neutralized by Yahweh's sustenance. His focus of identity and kingship is Yahweh, who has anointed him through Samuel. Therefore, as a veteran fugitive, he was poised during a humbling but defensive mobilization and strategic relocation. Ethical discernment is a hallmark of spiritual leadership. The conflicts and troubles have perplexed the psalmist, but he could triumphantly assert, "Salvation belongs to Yahweh. Your blessing is upon your people." Psalm 3 verse 8. When his commanders and troops marched out to fight with rebels, David commanded them to be gentle with Absalom, who had never fought in battle. The execution of Absalom may be rationalized as defensible justice. As the news reached the king, David lamented and mourned for the demise of Absalom, who deserved capital punishment. However, when he was rebuked by Joab, he accepted the suggestion in humility and did whatever seemed best for his loyal troops. On the one hand, David's gesture indicates that he was willing to forgive and restore a relationship toward his wayward son. On the other hand, he respected the stand and opinion of his fellow leaders. Regardless of controversial complications and circumstances, David looked forward for a progressive restoration of relationship. Another offender who deserved for a capital punishment like Absalom was pardoned as well. When kingship was restored to David, Shimei came forward and apologized for a sin he committed. The officer who suggested Shimei be beheaded at the initial fugitive status again proposed that he should be put to death in 2 Samuel. A sound judgment of grace for the ungraceful is evident. You are a shield around me. You bestow glory on me and lift up my head. For you have struck all my enemies on the cheekbone. You have broken the teeth of the ungodly. Psalm 3, 3-7. Biblical spiritual leadership in principle is on a par with secular leadership in general. However, the egocentric or anthropocentric and theocentric dimensions could be the differential. As a matter of fact, the leader who imitates the divine pattern of duty and service shall remain as the faithful witness in revealing God's character and glory. Your strength will equal your days. That is from Deuteronomy. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much.